how close is this to the dream you had growing up?
I wouldn't say close to the dream I had. I feel like it surpassed the dream I had growing up. Just playing in that stadium in Jennings, Louisiana for 4 years, my goal was to get here to play a championship game. And I never got to accomplish that, but a guy had bigger plans for me, honestly. So I'm just happy to be here and excited to be able to chase a Super Bowl inside that stadium. And man, like I say, God has surpassed my dreams, and I'm just grateful that I'm here.
Have you envisioned what it's going to be like running into the Superdome as that being your home stadium?
No, I haven't envisioned. I feel like I know it's going to be such a special, magical moment. Just like I remember playing here for the national championship game when LSU won, and like just having that Louisiana crowd, that electricity. I know it's going to be just electric, going to be like just through the roof whenever it happens, but I'm going to have to definitely slow down my breathing.
When the New Orleans Saints signed Travis Etienne, the immediate reaction wasn't excitement, it was confusion. This is a team with clear holes across the roster, from offensive line inconsistencies to quarterback uncertainty, and yet they chose to invest heavily at running back. On the surface, it didn't add up. Why prioritize a position that many teams across the league are actively devaluing? But that's exactly why this move matters. Because when a team goes against league-wide trends, it usually signals something deeper. The Saints weren't just adding a running back. They were making a statement about the direction of their offense. This wasn't about depth. It wasn't about insurance. This was about identity.
The New Orleans Saints have a new running back one. That is Travis Etienne. Reported right now, we don't have the guarantees, but 4 years, $52 million. $13 million per year, Hayden. This is a team with the 9th overall pick, saw what their future could be with Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore. How does Travis Etienne fit in this offense?
He's just going to be what Alvin Kamara was before. I don't think this is a contest at all. Alvin Kamara is currently on the team, but he had to take a little bit of like a pay cut, and they're moving money around to make sure they have Travis Etienne in the building. Yeah, and it could even be retirement for Alvin Kamara. Travis Etienne, that contract in terms of like total value, it's the most in the NFL at $52 million. Josh Jacobs at $48 million. Those two deals, Josh Jacobs and Travis Etienne, is just kind of like the modern version.
And if you look closer, the timing makes it even more interesting. This move comes right as the Saints bring in a new offensive vision under Kellen Moore, a coach known for maximizing offensive efficiency, leaning on balance, and building systems that elevate quarterbacks. In Dallas and Philadelphia, Moore's offenses thrived when the run game was reliable, explosive, and capable of controlling tempo. That's exactly what New Orleans didn't have last season. Their rushing attack ranked near the bottom of the league in efficiency, explosiveness, and consistency. They weren't just struggling, they were predictable. Defenses didn't fear the run, which made life even harder for the passing game. So suddenly, the Etienne signing starts to look less random. It starts to look intentional.
Let's go running back first. We just mentioned him as one of the names to watch. Travis Etienne has a new home. The New Orleans Saints will be his new employer.
Okay, let me take it one at a time right here.
Okay, do it.
Before you go on to the next one.
Okay.
I know where you're going to start.
Well, hold on a second. Travis Etienne going there again. They said he's from Louisiana, and so it's important for him to be closer to home, which is good for him. With the fleur-de-lis on the side of his helmet, in the French Quarter, will he be known as Travis Steve?
Wait, what?
The Etienne is
French.
It's French for Stephen.
Did
you never know that?
Because this isn't just about adding talent, it's about fixing a foundational problem. And once you understand that, the move doesn't just make sense, it becomes the starting point of something much bigger. Travis Etienne isn't just another running back, and that distinction is exactly why the Saints went after him. What separates Etienne from most backs in the league is versatility. He's not just someone who can carry the ball between the tackles. He's a player who can stretch defenses horizontally and vertically, create mismatches in the passing game, and turn routine plays into explosive gains. That kind of skill set changes how defenses have to line up before the snap. And that matters more than people realize.
When you look at what the Saints are building here, they're investing around their young quarterback in Tyler Shuck and what Kellen Moore has done, the previous running backs in Saquon Barkley in Philly. What does that say about what you can do here, and how much are you looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it a lot, and it says the sky's the limit. but we definitely know the work. He had to put in the work in first, and I feel like that's what I love about Kellen. Just talking to him yesterday, and also talking with Tyler. He's already back at it. So just being around a bunch of guys who are humbled and hungry, and want more. And I feel like we all in this phase of our career where we got something to prove. And Kellen, he's been to the top, so he knows what it takes. We have a great leader in front of us, and Tyler, he's a great leader as well, and he wants it. And it's going to be easy to follow him. And I'm just excited to come out here and just be all that I can be for them, and just help the team any way that I can, be selfless, and great things are going to happen for us.
Because modern offenses aren't just about gaining yards, they're about creating stress. They're about forcing defenses into uncomfortable decisions, and Etienne does exactly that. Whether he's motioning out wide, running routes out of the backfield, or hitting the edge with speed, he forces defenders to hesitate. And in the NFL, hesitation is everything. For Kellen Moore, this is the perfect chess piece. Moore's offensive philosophy has always relied on flexibility. In Dallas, he utilized running backs not just as runners, but as receivers. In Philadelphia, the system thrived because of its ability to keep defenses guessing. Etienne fits directly into that mold. But there's another layer to this: durability and age. The Saints are coming off years of relying on a veteran running back whose workload has taken a toll. Etienne, on the other hand, brings youth, explosiveness, and a fresh workload. He's not just a short-term fix, he's a long-term investment.
And he would be too rich for their blood, and they would have to supplement that somehow. But the way I'm taking the Travis Etienne news is the Saints and the Chiefs today have gone into the free agent market in a considerable way for running backs, and you're not paying those guys at that position the amount of money that they're going to pay them only to draft a rookie who 1,000,000% is going to be the engine of your running back offense. Period. End of story. And sometimes even the wide receiver market could get affected by somebody like him too, because he's going to catch passes. So that's the way I'm taking that.
And when you combine that with his production, multiple 1,000-yard seasons, consistent efficiency, and proven big playability, the picture becomes clear. The Saints didn't just sign a running back, they targeted a player who could redefine how their offense functions. This is where things start to shift, because adding Etienne doesn't just upgrade a position, it changes how the entire offense operates. And if this works the way the Saints expect it to, the impact won't be subtle, it'll be obvious.
Additions for the New Orleans Saints, and let's start with Ian Rappaport, the news about the Saints adding a big-time offensive weapon.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have now lost starting running back Travis Etienne to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have made a big-time splash in free agency, still waiting on terms of this deal. My understanding is it is upwards of $10 million for the New Orleans Saints, and obviously this really calls into question the status of Alvin Kamara, who redid his contract, and I think it's fair to say some have wondered whether or not he would walk away from the game at its height. So Travis Etienne now goes to the New Orleans Saints.
Last season, the Saints' offense had a major problem. It lacked identity. Some weeks they tried to lean on the run. Other weeks they abandoned it entirely. There was no consistency, no rhythm, and most importantly, no threat that forced defenses to adjust their game plan. That's what Etienne changes. With his presence alone, defenses can no longer play pass first without consequences. His speed demands attention. His ability to break off big plays means every carry has potential. And his versatility allows the Saints to disguise their intentions before the snap. That opens everything else up. Play action becomes more effective. Short passes turn into chunk gains. Even average blocking looks better when the running back can create yards on his own. It's a domino effect that starts with one player, but impacts every level of the offense. And for a young or inconsistent quarterback, that's critical.
Of that, so yeah, this is going to be a no contest. I think that right now in fantasy, he's the running back 18, which feels about right for Travis Etienne. It's a solid foundation of the offense. We like Kellen Moore. The offensive line, they've invested into it, some injuries across the offensive line. And then Tyler Shuck played pretty good football for a rookie going into his second year. So I think it's a fine environment for Travis Etienne, and you're just going to get explosives to a Saints offense that's ranked dead last in explosive run rate over the last 4 years.
Right, and was dealing with an older Alvin Kamara, and then in the final few games, Devin Neal. Travis Etienne's going to be, a shot of juice into that. You talked about the offensive line. Just a couple minutes after Travis Etienne's announcement hit, it was also announced that this team has a new left guard in David Edwards from the Buffalo Bills. So if we look across the Saints offensive line,
A strong run game simplifies everything. It reduces pressure, shortens third downs, and creates easier reads. It's not just about production, it's about control. But there's also a philosophical shift happening here. The Saints aren't trying to outgun opponents anymore. They're trying to outstructure them. They want to dictate tempo, control possessions, and build an offense that doesn't rely on perfect quarterback play to succeed. That's a smart move. And if Etienne performs the way he's capable of, this offense won't just improve, it will feel completely different. The moment Etienne signed, one question immediately became unavoidable. What happens to Alvin Kamara? Because for years, Kamara hasn't just been part of the Saints' offense, he has been the offense. His ability to run, catch, and create mismatches made him one of the most valuable dual-threat players in the league. But the NFL doesn't stand still, and neither do teams trying to rebuild. And now, for the first time, it feels like the Saints are preparing for life after him. This isn't about disrespect, it's about timing.
The Saints came into this free agent period knowing they were going to have money to spend and identified where they wanted to spend it. They got a running back who was 1,100-yard rusher a season ago, still very much in his prime, from Jennings, Louisiana, coming home, putting on for his home state. Love that. They added an interior offensive line to help protect Tyler Shuck and pace the running game. Love that. You let two defenders walk instead of overpaying for them. Now the onus is going to be on the Saints to go in the draft and maybe the second wave of free agency to see who they might be able to add to address the defensive side of the ball to get younger and talented there as well to replace Demario Davis and Alontae Taylor.
Kamara is approaching the stage of his career where running backs historically decline. The explosiveness isn't quite the same. The workload starts to show. And even if the talent is still there, the long-term projection becomes harder to justify. That's where Etienne changes everything, because he doesn't just complement Kamara, he overlaps with him. Similar skill sets, similar usage, similar roles in the offense. And in today's NFL, teams don't invest heavily in two players who do the same thing, which means a decision is coming. It might not happen immediately. The Saints could try to use both, easing Etienne into a larger role while reducing Kamara's workload. But long-term, the direction feels clear. This is a transition. And the way the Saints have handled it makes it even more telling. Contract restructuring, non-committal answers from the coaching staff, strategic roster moves. None of it confirms anything outright, but together it paints a picture. The Saints aren't just adding a weapon, they're preparing for a shift. And whether that means a reduced role, a trade, or even something more final, one thing is certain: the Alvin Kamara era is no longer guaranteed. For years, the Saints operated in a strange middle ground, not bad enough to rebuild, but not good enough to contend. They kept restructuring contracts, pushing money into the future, and trying to extend a competitive window that had already started closing. That approach comes at a cost. Eventually, you run out of flexibility, you run out of easy fixes, and you're forced to confront reality. That's where the Saints are now, and for the first time in a while, it feels like they're handling it differently. The Etienne move is part of that shift. Instead of clinging to the past, they're investing in the future. Instead of relying on aging production, they're targeting younger, more dynamic players. And instead of making emotional decisions, they're starting to make strategic ones. That's a big change. It doesn't guarantee success. Rebuilds are messy, they take time, and they require patience from both the organization and the fan base. But the direction matters. And right now, the direction looks clearer than it has in years. This isn't a full teardown, it's a controlled reset, one that allows the team to stay competitive while gradually transitioning into something new. And if they keep making moves like this, they might finally break out of that cycle. For all the upside Travis Etienne brings, there's a risk that hasn't been discussed enough, and it has nothing to do with his talent. It's about fit. Because no matter how good a player is, success in the NFL depends on how well they integrate into a system. And the Saints aren't just adding Etienne into a finished product, they're adding him into an offense that is still being rebuilt. That matters. The offensive line, while improved, is still a question mark. The quarterback situation isn't fully settled, and the overall offensive identity is still in transition. If those pieces don't come together, even a dynamic player like Etienne can struggle to reach his full impact. There's also the question of usage. If the Saints try to split touches too evenly, neither Etienne nor the rest of the offense may find a rhythm. If they lean too heavily on him too soon, they risk overloading a player they're counting on long term. It's a delicate balance, and we've seen situations like this before. Talented players entering unstable environments and failing to meet expectations, not because they weren't good enough, but because the system around them wasn't ready. That's the risk here. Not failure, but underalignment. And if the Saints don't get the surrounding pieces right, this move could take longer to pay off than expected. Now comes the part that matters most, execution. Because signing Etienne is just the beginning. What the Saints do next will determine whether this move becomes a turning point or just another step in a long transition. There are still gaps to fill. The offensive line needs to prove it can hold up consistently. The quarterback situation needs clarity, and the coaching staff has to establish a system that actually maximizes the talent they're bringing in. That's where Kellen Moore comes in. His ability to design and adapt will be critical. It's not just about calling plays, it's about building an identity, one that allows players like Etienne to thrive while also elevating everyone around them. There's also the roster question. Do the Saints continue to invest in the run game? Do they add more weapons? Or do they shift focus on the defensive side of the ball? Every move from here needs to align with the direction they've started, because half measures won't work anymore. The Saints have committed to change, and now they have to follow through. If they do, this could be the beginning of a new era, one built on speed, versatility, and smarter roster decisions. But if they don't, it risks becoming another missed opportunity. And in today's NFL, those are the ones that hurt the most.